Alright, so switching back to my sample file here, you can see the exterior walls and interior walls along with the doors and the windows. Let's go ahead and, referring to our notes, develop the stairs and railings and the porch. One thing that you'll notice here is if I turn on my construction line layer for the exterior, okay, I'm going to be using these lines, these construction lines, to help me lay out the porch, stairs, and railings. Now when I look at this, in your notes you should see there's an offset from the front face of the stud wall, not the finish, but the stud wall, towards the front of the porch there, and that's going to be about 8 feet. So if I just use offset and use 8 feet from the back towards the front, this is where our porch area is going to be. Okay? Now, if we continue to do this layout, just a rough layout here, then we'll talk about what layers to use for what elements. Okay, basically we have the A-floor rails and A-floor stairs layers that we can use to organize all this information. Okay, so let me go ahead and lay out the location of the stairs there, and it's going to be centered on the floor plan. So we know we have 28 feet across, so if I offset 14 feet from either side, I should find the center here. Now we've got a 6-foot wide stairway, and so if I offset 3 feet on either side, okay, there's our basic outline. So here's our outline of our porch and stairs, where they go. One thing you'll notice about the stairs, the porch, is that the porch itself, there'll be the supporting material, and again, it's just a simple representation. There'll be supporting material here that overhangs the under support here, that lines up, makes the edge of the floor line up here with the finish of the wall. Alright, so just for reference here, you can see I've got the 8-foot offset. So we're going to draw the outline of our floors, or our floor that represents the porch here, using this construction line, but we'll start from finish wall all the way to this line and then to the other finish wall. Okay, so if I switch layers and use A-floor stairs, I'll start with a polyline and start over here next to the finished wall and draw a line that is going to be perpendicular. Okay, now you can see here I don't have my O-snap set, but if I do shift right click, I can use perpendicular straight to this wall, or to this construction line here, and then continue to the other side. Now I can also turn on my polar O-snap there and make sure I have my O-track, and I can do this much more easily just by hovering over this corner here, moving away so you can see the extension, and then panning to the other intersection there. You might have to pull away and hover one more time so you can follow that extension line all the way down and then back up again. Okay, so this would be the outline of the porch. Now once we have that, the next thing that we want to show there would include the railing and the posts, and then the line work that would represent the stairs. Okay, so with the railing we have 8-inch square posts. So if you would like to, what you could do is off to the side somewhere. Alright, let's go ahead and create the line work for a block that'll represent the posts. So if I switch to layer 0, if I use a rectangle, I can start just about anywhere and just use at 8, 8. That's the dimension of the post. Now also, you'll notice in your notes that it's a dark heavy fill. Now if you don't want that dark heavy fill, you can use 253 as a lighter fill, so it's not so prominent. It's really up to you. I want you to explore here the different ways that you can have the graphic representation. But for example, here if I use hatch, okay, and I take a look, I've got a pattern where I can do solid, and I could do a solid color red or color gray, but I'm going to use 253 here, and it's going to be just a lighter fill than the solid black. So I've got my hatch and I've got my rectangle here all on layer 0. If I switch back to A floor rails, let's just say we'll keep it all together there, and I do B for block, now I can call this, let's say, 8-inch post, something like that. In terms of a base point, what I could do is, actually, if I don't use specifying screen, but I pick a base point, I can choose many different base points. I can choose, let's say, the center of the post, or I can use a corner, depending on how I'm going to place it, right? Either way, just pick one, and then you can pick the objects that would include the rectangle and the hatch. If you need to, you could put in a description, but it shouldn't be necessary. The name is descriptive enough, and again, we are not going to touch behavior. If I click OK, you can see now we have a new block. Alright, now pulling back out, if we take a look at the notes, you can see that we have posts on either side of those stairs. So what I would do is, if we develop, and it's symmetrical, right? If we develop 1/2 of our railings and our posts, we can merely do a reflected copy to do the other side, right? So why don't we go ahead and place our post. I could do that simply by moving, and let's say we're going to use the bottom left hand corner here and align it with the bottom left hand corner here. Now the reason why I did that is because we're going to offset it about 1/2 inch in both directions. So now I know it's right at the corner, so now if I move it over to the right 1/2 inch, oops, pardon me, let's move the block along the x-axis 0.5, and then along the y-axis 0.5 as well. And that's where we want it. Now the next post is 10 and 3¼ inches away. So if I select that previous block, right click, use our copy selection command, I can pick a base point anywhere, and as long as I project it along the 0-degree line here, I can just do direct distance method, and that would be 10 feet 3-1/4 inches. There we go. All right, we'll continue here by showing the railing, and I believe we have a 4.5 inch top railing there. So if we simply offset this line here 4.5 inches, then we could trim and we could restore the layer. Okay, because remember, this is on the A floor stairs, and the idea here is this, is that we have a railing that's connected to the post that overlaps the floor line, right? That would be the porch there. So if I offset 4.5 now from left to right, this would represent one side of our railing, for example, right? And even though I may have an overlap here with the post, I can always select my line work, right click, and then do the draw order to send to back. Also, since I'm doing half of it, right, I can use my existing construction lines here to trim away the excess, and that way I'll simply be able to reflect a copy. So this line right here, which is right now on A floor stairs, I'll switch it over to A floor rails. Okay. And then, short of including the annotations, which I'll wait till the very end to add annotations here, all we need now are the front steps. Okay, after we reflect the rail and the posts. So to do that, I can select my line work here. I can do mirror, pick 2 points along that center line, and there's the reflection. Okay, symmetrical. Also, I think we have a little bit extra right here, so we can use the post edge to trim that away. Or we could simply just pull back that line a little bit so it just doesn't show. Okay, and if we need to, we can select anything there and send it to the back. Make sure we have the correct draw order. And as we focus our attention on the stairs again, what you'll see is we have 6-foot wide stairs there, and then we've got a typical 14-inch offset. And again, depending on the actual elevation you're trying to create stairs for, there will be a particular formula to define the dimensions for your tread and your riser. Right now we just want to do a very simple conceptual layout. So here what I could do is, if I simply draw a line also on A floor stairs, okay, I'm going to draw that line right on top of this edge here, and then do our offsets. If I do 14-inch offset, okay, then I could do as many offsets as I need for my stairs. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, right? There's basically your treads. Now again, as a simple set of stairs, all I need to do is then show the outline from there to there. And if I freeze my construction line layer, now we can see, right, the roughly completed stairs and porch with posts. Again, the only thing that's missing there are the annotations, but we'll leave that for later. Okay. One thing I will tell you is keep in mind that of your scale and the size of text that you want to use for those annotations. We'll look at that later though.